Your dog is watching you right now. Not the way they watch the front door when they hear a sound, or the way they track a squirrel across the yard. This is different, quieter. They're watching the way you move through a room, the pace of your steps, the set of your shoulders, the exact quality of your breathing. And they're building a picture from all of it, not of what you're doing, but of how you feel. Most people express love to their dogs the way they'd express it to another human. Hugs, baby talk, expensive gifts in the form of toys that get destroyed in 11 minutes. And while none of that is wrong, behavioral neuroscience has spent the last 2 decades documenting something that most owners never get told. Your dog doesn't receive love through the channels you think. There are 7 specific moments happening in your house every single day where the signal either lands or doesn't. And the difference between them isn't effort or expense. It's something much smaller than that. 1. The first 3 seconds after you make eye contact. There's a study that keeps appearing in dog behavior research because the finding is so clean it's hard to argue with. In 2015, a team at Azabu University in Japan measured oxytocin, the neurochemical your brain releases during bonding, in 30 dog owner pairs during interaction. When owners and dogs engaged in mutual gaze, oxytocin rose in both of them, simultaneously, across species. The same molecule, the same moment. They then tested the identical protocol with wolves raised by humans. The loop didn't activate at all. This isn't a general mammal response. It co-evolved specifically between dogs and humans over thousands of years of proximity and selection. No other animal on Earth can open that loop with you. But here's the detail almost nobody mentions. The loop requires the gaze to be held. Most people make brief eye contact with their dog and look away, which is precisely what you do to signal discomfort to another dog. A sustained, soft gaze is the human equivalent of a slow blink in feline communication. It's not staring, it's staying. 3 seconds. That's all it takes for the neurochemical exchange to register. The next time your dog looks up at you,
you're triggering a biological process that no other species on this planet gets to have. 2. The way you say their name. Researchers at the University of York ran an experiment in 2018 that quietly dismantled a piece of advice that had been circulating in dog training communities for years. They tested 37 adult dogs across 3 audio conditions. Dog-directed speech, that higher, warmer, more exaggerated register, paired with words that were actually meaningful to the dog. The same warm tone paired with completely irrelevant content. Normal adult speech. Dogs moved toward the speaker and stayed near them in only one condition, when the warm tone was paired with words that carried real meaning. The tone matters, but the words matter just as much. A 2016 fMRI study confirmed this at the level of brain activation. When dogs listened to recordings, their brains processed vocabulary with a left hemisphere bias, the same lateralization humans use for language. The reward regions only activated when both the tone and the word carried positive meaning simultaneously. Your dog is parsing everything. The warmth in your voice and the content of what you're saying are processed as a combined signal, not separately. Which means saying their name in a clipped, distracted way while scrolling your phone is a different neurological event than saying it the way you say it when you're genuinely happy to see them. They know the difference. They've always known the difference. 3. Getting down to their level. This one doesn't have a single landmark study behind it. It has dozens of smaller ones pointing in the same direction, and the conclusion is consistent enough that veterinary behaviorists treat it as settled. Dogs read body posture with a precision most owners underestimate. A human standing upright and leaning forward is, in canine body language, a posture associated with approach and potential threat. A human crouching, turning slightly sideways, making themselves smaller, is an entirely different message. When you get down to your dog's level, you're not performing affection. You're speaking a physical language they were reading long before they could understand a word you said. A 2020 study tracking stress indicators in dogs during veterinary handling found that dogs examined at floor level showed measurably lower cortisol responses than dogs examined on elevated tables, even when the handler's behavior was otherwise identical.
content of the interaction was the same.
Use their name. Let them come to you rather than leaning into them. The approach on their terms is the whole message. 4. Following their nose instead of your route. Most walks are engineered around human efficiency. A distance, a pace, a route that fits inside a time window. From your dog's perspective, that's less a walk and more an escorted transit. In 2019, researchers assigned 20 dogs to 2 groups for 2 weeks. One group did structured heel work. The other did nose work, following scents freely, choosing where to stop, deciding how long to stay at any given patch of grass. Before and after, all dogs completed a cognitive bias test, a validated measure of whether an animal interprets ambiguous situations optimistically or pessimistically. The nose work dogs became measurably more optimistic. The heel work dogs showed no change at all. Same duration, completely different psychological outcome. Olfactory freedom activates the dopamine reward system in a way that structured movement simply cannot reach. Your dog's nose processes information at a sensitivity roughly 10,000 times greater than yours. A single square foot of ground is, to them, something closer to a newspaper, full of information about who passed through, when, and in what physiological state. When you let them lead, you're not losing control of the walk. You're giving them access to the experience the walk was always supposed to be. On at least one walk today, follow where they want to go. You'll cover less ground. They'll finish in a better emotional state than if you'd kept them at your heel the entire time. 5. Letting them win. There is a belief in popular dog culture, persistent enough that it gets repeated by people who should know better, that you should always win at tug of war. The dog wins, the thinking goes, and you've taught them they're in charge. The game becomes a dominance negotiation. In 2002, researchers tested this directly with 14 golden retrievers. 20 sessions where the dog always won, 20 where the dog always lost. The dominance variables in their behavioral scoring were completely unaffected by outcome. What did change? Attentiveness and focus toward the owner went up after play, regardless of who ended up with the rope. And the most playful dogs, the ones most engaged in the game, showed more owner-directed focus after the sessions where they won. There's a companion finding worth knowing. A study tracking handler behavior during play found that warm verbal praise and physical affection during the game predicted lower cortisol in the dog afterward. Disciplinary behavior during the same game predicted a cortisol rise. The way you show up during play matters infinitely more than who wins. Let them take the rope. Cheer like they've accomplished something. Watch what happens to their body when you do. 6. The reunion that actually lands. For years, popular advice around separation anxiety recommended calm, low-key arrivals. Don't reward the excitement. Keep your energy neutral. The idea was that an understated return trained an understated response. A survey of nearly 2,000 dog owners published in 2021 found something that should have ended that advice permanently. Owners of dogs with separation problems actually reported using lower arousal greetings than owners of dogs without them. The calmer the arrival, the worse the separation behavior. The recommendation had the cause and effect precisely backwards. A 2014 study measuring oxytocin and cortisol at reunion found that physical contact combined with verbal greeting was the only condition that kept oxytocin elevated after the interaction ended. When you come home, there is a short neurochemical window, measurable in minutes, where the reunion can register as something significant in your dog's nervous system, or it can pass unremarked. Kneel down, say their name, touch them with intention. You've been gone for 8 hours. To their nervous system, it matters that you came back. Let it show. 7. Being present when you're there. This is the one that will probably land differently depending on what your evenings look like. A 2025 study tracked 85 dog owner pairs and measured cortisol levels in both over time. The variable that most reliably elevated the dog's stress wasn't the owner working long hours. It wasn't even the owner being physically absent. It was work-related rumination, the inability to mentally leave the day behind when the front door closed. The dog's stress tracked the owner's internal state, not their behavior. Sitting on the sofa scrolling, physically present but mentally elsewhere, produced a measurable stress response in the dog. Which means the last habit isn't about what you do. It's about where your head actually is when you do it. Research on passive human presence found that simply sitting quietly in the same room as a dog, no interaction, no directed attention, produced cortisol reductions nearly identical to active petting or play. Your presence alone is regulating, but only when you're actually in it. Once a day, put the phone down, close the tab, sit with them without an agenda. Your dog is reading your internal state with a precision that would probably unsettle you if you could see the data. The only question worth asking is what they're finding when they do. Here's what all 7 of these have in common. None of them require money. None of them require an hour of your day. They require something harder and more specific than that. Attention to the moments that feel too ordinary to count. The bond your dog has with you is written in oxytocin cycles and cortisol patterns and the activation of a reward center that treats your voice the same way it treats food. It's biological, it's measurable, and it gets built or quietly eroded in moments that feel exactly like nothing. Your dog already knows how you feel about them. The science just tells you how to make sure the message actually gets through. If this changed how you see the small stuff, subscribe and leave a comment below. Which one of these are you going to try today? And if you want to understand what's actually happening in your dog's brain when you walk out the door every morning, the cameras researchers have been running for 30 years have captured something most owners have never been told. That's the next video.